Hi, I'm Vinny, and this is Makeify. When your YouTube channel gets to 100,000 subscribers, YouTube will send you a silver play button to commemorate the occasion. I'm not gonna lie, I really want one of those things, but my channel has nowhere near 100,000 subscribers yet. But I did just get to 10,000, which is mind-blowing in and of itself. Now, YouTube doesn't do anything special for that, so I took it upon myself to make my own play button out of pallet wood. But my play button lights up. I'm going to show you how I made it. I started out with a piece of pallet wood that was 4.5 inches wide. And I did a rough sanding with 80 grit sandpaper. I didn't want it perfectly smooth, I wanted to preserve some of the natural pallet wood character. Then I used a hand plane to plane the long edges smooth. The piece of wood would get cut in half and glued together along these edges, so I needed them to be perfectly flat. I cut the piece of pallet wood in half with a handsaw. I made a template on the computer and printed it out on 4 pieces of paper. The 2 pieces of paper that formed the top half were taped together, and the 2 pieces of paper that formed the bottom half were taped together. And I cut the top and bottom templates along the midline marked on the templates. Then I used spray adhesive to attach these templates to the 2 pieces of pallet wood, making sure to align the correct edges of the templates to the edges of the pallet wood. Then I cut the pieces of wood with the bandsaw. You can download the templates for free, link below. Then I could remove the templates. One of the pieces of wood cracked, but I was able to glue it back together easily. Then I glued the 2 main pieces of wood together. Then I got a piece of oak that was 3.5 inches by 3/4 inches. I cut 2 pieces to a length of 10 inches. And 2 pieces to a length of 7.5 inches. And these would form a simple frame. But first, I marked a spot for an 8 AA battery holder in one of the corners of the frame. And I cut this spot out with the bandsaw. Then I glued and screwed the frame together. I used 1 1/4 inch number 8 wood screws, and I put 2 screws in each joint, making sure to countersink the heads so the screw heads would sit flush with the wood. And I cut a 5.5 inch square of 1/8 inch thick number 7328 white acrylic, which has a 32% light transmittance and is commonly used in lighted signs, which is what this is. Then I marked off a spot for this piece of acrylic on the back side of the pallet wood piece so that it was centered around the triangle. I used a trim router with a 1/2 inch straight bit to cut a spot for the acrylic to a depth of about 1/2 inch. The pallet wood was about 3/4 inch thick. I had to square up the corners with a chisel. And I did some sanding with a sanding disc on my Dremel. And I made sure the piece of acrylic fit, which it did. Then I marked where I wanted the frame to sit on the back of the pallet wood piece. and glued and screwed the frame to the pallet wood front. I marked the center of the top of the frame and used the keyhole bit in my Dremel with a homemade router base to cut a keyhole that would allow me to hang the sign from a screw or nail in the wall. Then I sanded the front down to 120 grit, still making sure not to ruin all the natural pallet wood character. I also sanded a spot on the back to apply my finishing stamp. Then I gave the sign a few coats of spray lacquer. I cut 2 small L's out of scrap wood and drilled pilot holes in them. I removed the protective paper from the acrylic piece and put it in place, then screwed down the L's to hold the acrylic in place. Then I got the battery holder and screwed it in place using 2 short wood screws. I got a roll of red LED strip lights and cut off the connector and cut 4 pieces to go around the back edge of the sign. I got a roll of white LED strip lights and ran a strip around the inside of the frame. I cut little pieces of wire and soldered them to the 4 pieces of red LEDs to electrically connect all 4 pieces in series. I drilled a small hole in the side of the frame near one end of the red LEDs and soldered longer pieces of wire to this end and fed the wires through the hole and soldered the wires to one end of the white LEDs. Then I soldered the leads from the battery holder to the open end of the red LEDs, making sure to connect the black wire to the negative pad on the LED strip and the red wire to the positive pad. This battery holder has a built-in switch, so I didn't need to add another one. I added some batteries and some felt bumpers and hung the sign on the wall. I think the sign is really cool. It looks really good in the dark. Thank you all 10,000 subscribers. It really means a lot to me. It's very encouraging to see that people like my projects. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already and you like my projects, please consider subscribing and becoming part of the next 10,000. Thanks for watching. Rave mode. Ooh. Oh, that is recording.